All right, man. Welcome back to Agree to Disagree. And if you're new, welcome to Agree to Disagree. Got my boy J-Lloyd, EG, Fred. We got Pops.
I feel good.
All right, man. Let's get into it. Topic today, man. Greatest WNBA dynasty of all time. All right. This should be good. All right. Now, usually I don't go first, but I feel like it is my duty to get the show off to a good start. And it is my duty to make sure Maya Moore and the Minnesota Lynx get the credit and recognition that they deserve, man, as the greatest dynasty of all time. So I feel like their reign throughout the WNBA, their dynasty, is a bit underrated. From 2011 to 2017, they have four championships in that 6-year span, right? They lost to the Sparks, and they lost to who was it?
Atlanta Dream, Indiana Fever.
It was one of those. But anyway, man, and that 6-year span, I just feel like they shown complete dominance, man. And I know when other guys go, some people are gonna talk about Houston, but I don't really think it's fair because the league was there was less teams and the talent was kind of pushed together, man. So before I get into it, I gotta have my rebuttals. So I'm gonna say my rebuttals. So my take is gonna be the Minnesota Lynx. So I'm gonna go with you, Pops.
Well, here again, you're wrong. You're wrong. It is not the Minnesota Lynx. You're wrong. There's no way in the world that you have the Houston Comets who won 4 in a row. And then you piggyback off that 4 in a row. Then the team that took them out were the Sparks that came back and won 2 in a row. I mean, it had more dominant. You're not going to find a better tandem than that. And I'm not a comic fan. I got to apologize to my sister, Pooh Branch. I'm apologizing, but Pooh, you know. But anyhow, it's the comment all day long. I mean, yeah, they changed the game. I mean, you even have to go before you get to Maya Moore and them. You still got to go Diana Taurasi and them. You still got to go to Seattle Storm. I mean, but bottom line, it's the Houston Comets all day. I don't care if it was watered down. The league was watered down when the Celtics won their championship. Anybody say nothing? They still have 11. And
wait, before you keep going, Pop, my bad. Did I say watered down?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You said the league wasn't as strong as it is when Maya Moore and them won. Well, it was watered down when the Celtics won. So we're not going to do this. 4 in a row. They won 4 in a row. And the team that beat them came back and got 2 in a row. So it's not even. I mean, the Comets, man, there were some bad girls. Tina Thompson, Cheryl Swoops, and Cynthia Cooper, tough. And the crazy part about it, the Sparks lost to them both times. So it's like, hey, you got to give the prop. Maya Moore, no. The Lynx, no. They were good in their era, but no. 4 in a row. Think about that. 4 in a row.
When I think about that 4 in a row, I think about how they were. How many teams were in there? 4 in the league at the time? 4, 5, 3.
No.
Teams playing. It was 2 teams playing against you.
No.
There he goes.
What are we saying?
No, don't do this. We're not going to pump up the Minnesota Lynx. No, we're not going to do this. Because the same team, who knocked the Lynx off? The Sparks. So we're not going to do this.
Which year are we talking about?
Huh?
Which year are we talking about?
The Sparks knocked them off twice, didn't they?
Oh, 102.
16. I think 16 they knocked them off.
Yeah, Candace them. Yeah,
2016,
but I mean, we're not gonna say what was what, but I mean, 4 in a row. Who has won 4 in a row? I rest my case.
That's a fair point, man. It's kind of hard to argue 4 in a row, man. It is. It is. Go ahead, Craig.
Okay. Their winning was pretty close versus being spread out. But it's, you kind of splitting hairs because when you talk about Houston Comets, you know, they over what 4 years, they're 9 days before in the regular season, 6 in the playoffs. I guess because they have a longer period of time. In addition to having 4 champions, they've been 6 titles, 12 during that span. So I think, and also too, the one thing that another record is the fact that that core group for the longest time, on Augustus, William Moore, Rebecca Brunson, they had that core for, I think they've been relevant longer. I mean, even after they won 4 in a row, they weren't even relevant. They didn't even, you know, the Comets didn't even go to the finals after that. So I got to give it to
That's
Minnesota
because
Lynx.
they added more teams. And before I let you go, Brian, Craig brought up a good point, man. From that point, from 2011 to 17, they're relevant. Meaning, there was 2 years. Well, it was 1 year where they didn't make the finals, and then the other year they were the runners-up. So 6 years straight, they're like everyone in the league is worrying about and thinking about the Lynx. And Craig also brought up a great point when you talk about their key players. You had Maya Moore. I said Maya Moore and Simone Augustus. I didn't even put down Lisa Whalen and Bronson. But Maya Moore, Rookie of the Year, Simone Augustus, Rookie of the Year. 2 Hall of Famers for sure. So go ahead, BG.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Craig. I was with Pops when I was doing my research, but I think it just goes to me. Like I grew up watching the Lynx, like they were on TV. So obviously, you know, when the Comets were doing their thing, it's very hard to argue against that. And I would say they are the greatest dynasty, but for me, and Craig took my stats too, it's the core group they had for such a long time. Like for them to stay in that, keep that core group and be competitive and not become like, well, I'm gonna leave here. And then they added Sylvia Fowles later on. I think they added to get that 4th one. And it's like, but I hear you, Pops. When I was doing my research, obviously I knew about it just from knowing the game, but in front so that's a big argument. Like we're talking about, you know, they won 4 and 6 appearances, but for them to do it. But I'm with John on it about the whole, you know, the league was just brand new. I think the competition was a little different for the Lynx, but I give the slight edge, like Craig said, to the Lynx on that one. But I see where you're coming from, though, Pops, because 4 in a row is very tough.
So when they added Sylvia Fowles, man, obviously he's the all-time league rebounder now, and has a two finals MVP on her resume too, man. So what they got 4 finals MVP on they got 4 final MVPs to those days, man, between those 3. And
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait.
And I got to miss some too. I just looked it up. The first season they did have 8 teams in the league, but think now what is it 12?
So how many teams was in the league when the Celtics won all them championships? When there, how many teams was in the league? 16?
Are the Celtics the greatest dynasty?
They won 11.
Are they the greatest dynasty though? Like, if someone asked you who was the greatest NBA dynasty, would you say the Celtics?
You wouldn't?
No,
11?
no, I
I think
wouldn't.
they're at 17, Pop. Once it's 17.
Definitely.
What they've had, I mean, they won 11 in a row. That's not a dynasty.
No, it is. But I'm asking you, if someone said who was the greatest dynasty, you would say Celtics.
You would have to 11 in a row.
I would say Lakers. You can argue Lakers.
Y'all just gave credit. Y'all just gave credit. And I know I'm gonna get a little off topic, but y'all just gave credit for the Lynx going to the championship 6 times in a row, but we gonna ridicule LeBron for going 10. Stop. But that's a great feat. No, we gonna bypass Diana Taurasi's team. We gonna bypass Sue Bird's squad. Man, if y'all don't stop this, no.
I don't get where LeBron got brought into this.
Jay, bring us home. Jay, bring us home, man.
Tina Thompson is a Hall of Famer. Joe Swoops is a Hall of Famer.
That's not taking nothing away from them, bro. Nothing at all. Nothing.
You know,
Jay, please.
The one thing that I feel hurts the comments is that they folded. I feel like, how can you be the best dynasty of all time when you can never, ever build on your dynasty? I think one franchise that we didn't really mention that I think deserves to be mentioned is the Seattle Storm. And because I feel like they have the most true definition of what a dynasty is, meaning they won 2 championships in the early years with Sue Bird and Lauren Jackson. And they won 2 championships the last 2 out of the last 3 seasons with Sue Bird and Breanna Stewart. So when you look at a dynasty, I feel like it has to be something that's over decades.
Yeah.
The comments were great, and we're gonna get a lot of flack in the comments about it. But my issue with the comments was like, no one wants to talk about the ABL. Half the talent was in another league back then. So there was the WNBA, and you had a league called the ABL, which half of the cats that could hoop played in the ABL, half the cats that who played in the WNBA. So it wasn't until the ABL folded that those players, Yolanda Griffin, Jennifer Azzi, like Yolanda Griffin came to the league and won a ship with Sacramento.
Finals MVP.
Right? So I feel like, yeah, they won 4. You can't take away from them. They won the first 4. And that's amazing. But one thing, I think the parity in the league was different. All right, I do. And 2, they can't build on it. Now, if they won a couple of championships since then, or if the franchise still existed, I feel like it's a debate. But if Seattle goes and wins 2 or 3 more, we gonna still say Houston because they won the first 4 when Seattle got 7? Like, at some point.
And they're the favorites next year too, probably.
They're the favorites next year. So that's my only thing. I feel like Houston was the first super team ever. But in terms of dynasty, I like the Storm, and I do think Minnesota would have been that team if Maya Moore didn't, do what she had to do and take the leave and get married and all that. But if you're looking at right now, I still think Seattle has to be in that discussion because they've done it in 2 different decades.
I respect that.
So, but what? So where do we put the Phoenix? Where do we put Phoenix at?
I personally like Phoenix, but my issue with Phoenix was simply that they only won 3. They didn't win 4. They won 3, right? Seattle's gotten 4 of them things. So if you're looking at numbers, the only people that should be in this discussion to me is Minnesota, Seattle, and Houston. Because they're the only teams in history that's won 4. Minnesota won 4, Seattle won 4, Houston won 4. If you ain't won 4, I don't think you shouldn't be in the discussion. I love the Spartans, but they only got 3. They only have 3, Pop. And they failed. They underachieved a bunch of years.
Yeah, true.
A bunch of years. They should have won it and they lost it. right?
With a ton of talent.
With a ton of talent. So if you look at Minnesota, Seattle, and Houston could be in that discussion, man, but they folded. So you can't put them in that position anymore.
That was a business decision. That was the league. That wasn't their fault. I mean, a lot of teams have folded since.
But how can you build on your legacy if the franchise doesn't exist?
Well, I get you what you're saying, but I mean, the league is not getting the support that it gets now. I get that. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I mean, man, 4 in a row. 4 in a row.
I think what Jay said about the ABL, which I had no knowledge of, that kind of makes sense, right? Half of the talent is in the WNBA, and the other half is in a whole different league. So I want to say this for the view, because I know we're gonna get hit in the comments, man. We're not taking anything from Swoop. Like we're not taking anything from the comments, man. We're not taking anything from them. All we're saying is I feel like they were playing. Jay said it best. They were the first super team, man. They were the first super team. So
you gave them Cheryl Swoops. They had Tina Thompson as the first pick, and then you give them Cynthia Cooper from overseas. Are you kidding me? And you only give the Sparks Lisa Leslie. You give the Liberty Rebecca Lobo. Come on, man. No shade. They won it. They won it. They won it. They won it, man. But come on, man. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
so the bottom line is that we gotta go over it. So the bottom line, really, the team got to be there. Got to be the Seattle Storm.
I feel like I would pick Seattle. I can see what Brian and Craig will pick Minnesota. I just feel like Minnesota can't. They're not going to win again without Maya Moore. That's it. They might as well just fold up too. Maya Moore gone, Jack. That's it.
Man, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that, man.
No, I'm saying if she come back, we got action. But if Maya Moore don't come back, they might as well just look, man. That's it. They might as well go back to the green uniform they used to have when they wasn't making the playoff. That's it. Seattle got a chance to win about 2 or 3 more of them things, man.
That's true.
Easily. Like, Brianna Stewart just got back from tearing her Achilles, and she came back and won at 26 or 27. How old? Come on, man. Come on, man. They don't even like Seattle like that. But facts are facts.
You better not tell KP that.
we have to be on our podcast. I can't stand, man. Come on, man. But they out there though. What can you say? I know. Shout out, but I know.
But real quick though, Jay. So I like your point of what you said, like the longevity of it, but not like Pop said. I mean, the Celtics will obviously won 11 in a row, but you always see it happening in spurts, right? So I get where you're coming from that point, but what if they don't win? You know, I mean, obviously they're young. Where do you know they're going to be the favorite one? So it's always still that what if. But I agree with you on that one. But it's always, you still got to play. Go out there and play. So.
No, let me respond to that, BG. Hold on, let me respond to that, Pop. BG, you on point. But let's say BG, they don't win any more championships. They still have tied Houston for 4, and Houston can't win anymore. So even if we stop right now, they're tied, and Houston has no chance of ever winning a championship again. So it's still debatable because I feel like Seattle won those in 2 different WNBA eras. When Houston just got theirs out the way real quick after 2000, it was a wrap. They were done after that.
But you got to think about it too, Jay, from 11 to
17.
To 17, like that's a 6-year gap where Seattle's not necessarily like relevant. So
I see what Jay's saying, that they've been more relevant longer based on how spread out their championships are.
Yeah,
but I do feel like, Dynasty, kind of like, Golden State Warriors or just, you dominate, or like the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, you dominate over a certain period of time. You know what I mean? Bulls, Magic, and Kareem.
Right. Yeah, like can we ever say Golden State is the best dynasty of all time? No. No, but they were cool for their 4 or 5 years. They were it. But
Yeah.
Houston was
But
good for the.
I don't think that's a good. The NBA's been around longer than the WNBA though.
Right, but that's my point, Jay. If we're basing on how long the WNBA been around, it's been what 24 years, I believe, 22, 24 years. The Seattle Storm is the only franchise that has won in multiple decades, won multiple championships in multiple decades. Nobody else has done that. So that's why I feel like with the same, and mind you, with the same point guard. So the same point guard was the starting point guard on both of those, on all 4 of those championships. Like that.
They won
says
multiple in
something.
a row. They won multiple in a row, right?
No,
2 in a row. No, it's just spread out.
They never went back to back though. You
See, that's tough
that's
though. Yeah, see, that's the tough part. But I agree
They had
with
to
you.
wait for they had to wait for Stewart.
Yeah. They have some tough. They have no. BG, you right about that. It's going to be debatable because they never repeated, which I can see that too as an argument. How can you be the great if you never repeat it? But again, they wanted 2 different. I mean, they would say the same thing about Minnesota. If we talk about repeating, then you go back to Houston and LA. But Houston won 4, LA won 3. But
see, but it could also be your preference too, right? Like I said, like I agreed with Pops, right? But then when Craig brought up the links, and obviously John brought up the links, like that's why I had 2. But that's just because I was able to watch them play throughout those years. I was able to see Maya Moore go for, like I was only like 5 years old when the Comments were winning, and I wasn't really into hoop like that. So it's like I guess it could be a preference choice too.
yeah,
It's a good comparison for Dynasty will be like Seattle's like the Spurs.
that's a good one.
But the Spurs got multiple though. They get
Well,
2.
they never went back to back though.
They never went back to
Didn't
back.
they?
That's the Dynasty.
No.
Hands
They never went back to back.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought they did.
Yeah. But you wouldn't say the Spurs is the greatest dynasty of all time. I would
would
say
all
you'd
time,
say they probably you couldn't even say well, I guess you could say most consistent. They're always consistent. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll be relevant in the mix for a while.
Yeah.
They
What,
won
15
5
years.
games in
But
1 day.
11 to 17, you had to see the links, man. You had to.
Yeah,
6
but
years.
that's what I'm saying. I know we keeping it WNBA, but I think that's what made the Lakers too. Like I just feel like they only had the 90s where they weren't really relevant. The 80s they were relevant. Kobe and them took them back in 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Kobe took them in the 2010s, and then LeBron just got one. But every decade they've gotten something. The WNBA is still fairly new in terms of you can't compare it to the 80 years of the NBA, but I just feel like you got the same point guard, man, that's won in 2 different eras. I do feel like, again, I would say Minnesota, though. I would lean towards Minnesota. I just feel like Maya gone, man. So I just don't know.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
And which is hard too, because they still had fouls at the time when Maya departed. You can build around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can build around Maya and fouls. Obviously, I think Maya's role would have been a little more limited than what it was, but that's the hard part, man. That she walked away, man.
I just noticed what you said, Jay. 2017 was the last chip. It's 2021. That drought already started. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Seattle. Seattle, they got 2018, 2020. If Brandon can get another 2 or 3 over the next 5 years, and that I think that's makes them, it actually puts them over the top.
And here goes the crazy part. I know John got to wrap us up. You got to think the year that they lost, y'all, Breonna Stewart tore her Achilles. So in 19, she didn't play that whole year. That's the year Washington won it. So, yeah, we can say what if, but bruh, she tore her Achilles. So she didn't play that whole year. And she came back the first year after tearing her Achilles in the bubble with their head coach not even there. Their head coach was home, and they still won it. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Good argument.
Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong. You can't go wrong with
Yeah.
Houston, Seattle, or Minnesota. But I'm sticking to Minnesota, man. Jay, you made a great point about Seattle, and obviously Houston was dominant those first 4 years, so we can't just walk over that. I know we're gonna get a little shade in the comments about Houston, man, but put down what you think, man. Put a rebuttal in the comments, and we'll love to have a debate in the comments about it too. But thanks for watching, man. This is Agree to Disagree. Got my boy BG, Fred, Pops,
I feel good.
and we got Jay, and I'm John, man. Until next time, we out.